Bosses start somewhere. Hey y'all, Happy New Year, and thanks for tuning in to the 10th episode of Bosses Start Somewhere. It's your girl, Riley Brookstith. I hope everyone had a wonderful New Year's Eve. I know I did, and I'm feeling refreshed and excited for a year filled with nothing but abundance. Stay tuned for an interview you won't want to miss, and boss moves coming up next. It's your girl, Riley Brookstith. Stay bossy. Bosses start somewhere. This week on Boss Moves, I was reading an article on Forbes.com headlined, Meet the Crypto Billionaires Getting Rich from Ripple's XRP. According to Forbes, the current and former CEOs of Ripple rank among the wealthiest Americans today. For those of you that are unaware of cryptocurrency, there's a great article on blockgeeks.com, that's blockgeeks.com, that explains it all in detail. However, for those of you that are into cryptocurrency and that are currently buying, selling, trading, etc., Ripple, as of Monday, January 1st, 2018, had a market capitalization of $88.9 billion. Each XRP was trading at $2.39 according to CoinMarketCap. Just the week before, Ripple had surpassed Ethereum to become the second most valuable crypto asset. Wow, that makes them one slot away from Bitcoin. Major boss moves. Stay tuned for my talk with one of the most inspiring actresses in the game coming up next. It's your girl, Riley Brookstith. Stay bossy. Bosses start somewhere. Hey y'all, welcome back to Bosses Start Somewhere. It's your girl, Riley Brookstith. I'm so excited for today's show, so let's just jump into it. This next guest is a multifaceted film and television actress, playwright, and not to mention an incredible poet. She's best known as Darlene in David Simon's The Deuce on HBO. She previously starred as Billy Rowan in Simon's critically acclaimed HBO miniseries, Show Me a Hero. She's also a Brooklyn native and recently surprised many of us with an incredible vulnerable performance playing young Gloria Carter in Jay-Z's Smile. Her groundbreaking original one-woman show Subverted was nominated for an Innovative Theater Award for Outstanding Solo Performance, and the list just goes on. So I couldn't be more excited to introduce the multi-talented Dominique Fishback. Hey, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So before we get started, I just want to give you a little bit of background on why I started Bosses Start Somewhere. I've always wanted to create a platform to inspire others, and I created this podcast to highlight the journey of various influential creatives and how it all began for them. So for you, Dominique, why acting?
Well, I've always wanted to be an actress since I was a little kid. I would watch, at like 10 years old, I would watch I Love Lucy. At 1 o'clock in the morning, I would go to sleep super late and wake up in the morning. My mom was like, you can't keep doing this. But for me, it always came on at 1 o'clock and I had to catch it. And I just remember watching Lucille Ball and being like, I could do that. I want to do that. I want to have my own show like her. And I would watch shows like Sister Sister, and I would have a notebook where I write, if I was Tamara, I would do it like this, or whatever the case is, at such a young age. And my mom told me, Dom, you're so dramatic. You should try acting. I think you could really do it. So for me, that was kind of like, I guess, the thing that I needed to like propel forward. And, I actually got denied so many times when I was little from acting. There was a group called Ta-Da. I got denied 3 times, but I'm so thankful for 10-year-old Dom, because she knew that she had a dream. And, if she would have given up, so young and impressionable, to be denied and turned away so many times it's crazy, but her resilience is so strong, and I'm just so thankful because I'm here today.
Amazing. What was it about the craft of acting that you just couldn't resist?
I think the craft for me was being able to make people laugh, or being able to make people feel things. And I started writing and acting at the same time. So I found that me telling my stories honestly connected to people of all walks of life. A lot of times you think if you're specific, because I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn, and I had this experience, and that just seems like a Black experience or a ghetto experience. When I'm so specific in a show, and this like white 10-year-old girl is crying because she had the same experience with her father or her stepfather. It was so important to me that I could connect and be the voice and be a voice for people who otherwise didn't have one or wasn't courageous enough yet to tell their own stories.
And was there one character that you resonated with specifically?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked that question because I think one character that resonated the most was Billy Rowan, and that was my first HBO show, first David Simon show, and it was a miniseries with Oscar Isaac and Winona Ryder and all of these people that I had grown up watching her and admiring. And I think just for Billy, she was a girl that reminded me of my sister, my mom, my friends, people in my neighborhood. And I think a lot of times we get misunderstood coming from where I come from. And I just knew her so well that even if this guy was showing that he didn't truly love her because of his actions, he would say the words but not really show it, that she could still love him and forgive him. And because I've done that, I think a lot of us have done it. And I think the only time people could say, oh, that's so stupid of her, or why would she do that, is when they have not experienced that feeling. And so I couldn't judge her from that. And she also taught me to be thankful to my ex who broke my heart, because I was able to use that emotion, those feelings, to understand her and better portray her with honesty and hope and truth.
Wow. And I know you started in the theater.
Yes.
So when did you decide to transition into film and TV?
Well, it's funny that you asked that because I had always wanted to be a TV and film actress. Wow. I'd never known theater. Like when I was younger, even though I lived right across the bridge, that's the crazy thing about being from Brooklyn and even being from the city. Like Broadway was so close and yet it was so far out of my mind. And I would probably see like commercials of Lion King across my screen, but then I'm watching Sister Sister and I'm watching the Cosbys, and so that was how I knew acting. And it was only until I decided I'm gonna really go for acting. I'm not gonna let anything, turn me away. And I auditioned for the MCC Youth Company, and you had to write and perform your own stuff. And so they taught us about finding our light and projecting and articulating was a big deal. And I found that I had stage presence organically. And then I started loving theater and being like, well, I want to do both because TV and film never left me. But theater came supernatural to me. And I remember I had one audition in like 2011 for like a TV show, I think The Gifted Man or something like that. And the woman, she brought me in and she was like, I love all your choices. They're so strong. But now I want you to do it like less theatrical or something like that. Like bring it down. And I really didn't understand what she was saying. So I brought it down. I felt like I was doing nothing. It felt dry and it felt like not real to me. And I had a hard time with that statement. A lot of people said it like, oh, film and TV is less theatrical. And so that always confused me because I'm a theatrical person in life. So they can't tell me that that's not real because I'm expressive. I use my hands. I use my facial expressions. I use my voice, in real life. So they can't tell me that that's not true. So that was kind of confusing to me. But I read Michael Caine's acting in TV and film, and he said that people often think that that stage has an intensity that's really like big, like bigger, and film and TV doesn't have that. But he said it has the same exact intensity. It's just that it has to be bottled in. That you can't express it in the same way that you could express it on stage, but it doesn't mean that it's not there. So once that picture came into my mind, I was like, oh, I get that. Because now when you have the same intensity and excitement that you have on stage, but now it's sucked inside and it only has the voice and the eyes come through, it just changed everything for me. So I think that was kind of my transition.
And you said, writing was a huge component of the program. Is that where you developed Subverted?
No, I actually developed, it's a piece, actually a spoken word piece that I do in Subverted that I developed while I was in the youth company. But a lot of it came just from my own experience. And I think MCC just taught me that I had what it takes. They used to always say, you should do a one-woman show. And I saw my first one-woman show was an Elijah Son, No Child. The first one-woman show I saw, and I saw it with MCC. And I recently found a journal. As you can see, I have like so many journals from when I was like 10 onward. But I found a notebook where I wrote, I saw a one-woman show and I was like, God, please Please let me be able to do this. Please give me what it takes. And then I'll have subverted, and so I think MTC taught me about monologues and taught me about stage presence and structure without limiting me. It was like an organic and it was a natural thing that I had. So for them to support it, and even like when I had to do edits or something, or a piece was too long, they would say, Dom, this piece is too long. But they wouldn't cut it for me. They wouldn't take things out. They wouldn't change it. I had other experiences where another organization tried to rewrite stuff, and I used to be like, that's not my voice. And they would also kind of make it seem like I didn't know what I was talking about. But I was younger when I was with MCC, and MCC taught me that I do know what I'm talking about, and tell me what you need me to do, and then I'll do it. But they in no way said this is how you have to do it, or this is this way, and that's it. They said, well, the thing about this piece is too long, so I'm gonna let you cut it. And I go back and I found what I need, and I reword things to say exactly what I mean in less words, and that's where I got my confidence from with writing, especially for theater.
Wow. Wow. So what was the inspiration behind Subverted? Tell us a little bit about the show. And I know you recently just had a performance.
Yes.
I wish I was there.
I wish you were too. It was amazing. But well, going to Pace, a lot of times I would be the only black girl, black person in my class. And I was in a sociology class where a white male said that if African American males in low income communities just normally, they wouldn't be stopped by the police. And that infuriated me. I was livid. I looked around. I'm like debating with him. I'm stumbling on my words. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm so passionate and so upset. And I looked around and nobody could help me. Nobody could be on my side. Nobody could advocate with me for my cousins and the people that I loved that was in these environments that he just didn't know what he was talking about. So I was so upset, and I said, "Well, Dom, you can't judge him, really. He's only talking about something that he's probably saw on TV, and he just doesn't know." So I said, well, you've been blessed with the gift of writing and performing. And you have to do a thesis to graduate with honors. So why don't you do a one-woman show? And so that's where it stemmed from. In my class, we read Judith Butler's Gendered Troubles and a Subversion of Identity. And I remember reading that and thinking, wow, all the things that she's talking about gender becoming a performance rather than a natural fact of being something. That's why people could say act like a lady. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, the same thing she's talking about is the same thing that I feel about being black. That's why people could say you're talking black, or and I was like, wow. So I kind of wrote an essay that was called Ghetto Troubles and the Subversion of Black Identity. And from there, I was like, well, I know I want to do a one-woman show. How do I show these points on stage? And I knew that the most powerful tool I had as a stage actress was that when you present full people, or you give people an opportunity to see a person. So for an hour and 20 minutes, these people, they got people who didn't grow up in areas like mine got to see a character like Tyshawn, who when you meet him, he's rolling weed and he's rapping. So you think, oh, he's a typical whatever, stereotypical. And then by the end of that first scene, you're like, oh, he's so much more. And so they got this whole hour and 20 minutes to sit with these characters that they wouldn't otherwise know and fall in love with them and care about them.
Can you tell us the characters?
Yeah, for sure. So there's Eden, and Eden is a lot like me in many ways. She graduated valedictorian of her high school, which I did too. But then she got into her college, her university, as below average, and I did too. I got into Pace in the CAP program, and I was like, well, I just couldn't understand how that could be, how I could be the quote unquote best in a neighborhood like Brownsville, Brooklyn, graduating with honors and valedictorian, and then going into a school right across the bridge, and they're saying like you're not even average and you need extra attention from the university. So that's where we meet Eden in the beginning of the play. She gets accepted into the university, but on academic probation. And her grandmother's like, I don't understand this. You were valedictorian. How is this? Eden's like, it doesn't matter, Grandma. I'm going to just go on my ace to classes. And so she has this like resolve to solve things and to not let things hold her back. But then as she goes through the course of being in college and seeing the subversion of Black identity and the oppressive nature of this country towards Black people, then she starts realizing that what she thought to be true isn't exactly true. and she starts having more compassion for the people around her. So then, you come to Tyshawn, and Tyshawn is a mix between three of my cousins. You meet him. He has like the Brooklyn swag, the fitted hat. He lick his lips a lot. He talk like this. You know what I'm saying? And he's very charismatic. And so you meet him, and he definitely has a lot of ideas and philosophies that people might not agree with, but they could see that he's all heart. And when you see that somebody like him is all heart, then you love him, and he becomes a favorite for so many people: white, black, old, young. Rich, poor. Everybody's loving him when he says actually the most truthful things in the most honest way. He's very raw, very, very prejudice at times, because of his environment and how he grew up. And I think by the end of the play, he could say the most fucked up thing. I don't know if I curse.
You can curse. It's a free environment.
Yeah, he says he says a lot of fucked up things, but you see that is only from hurt, and you start to understand him, and you walk away knowing him and loving him, and I love him so much. He's one of my favorites as well. But then you also have the slave side where there's the slave master. There's a slave named Charlotte who's wanting to learn how to read. Her mom's like, you can't do that. So we go back and forth between education and food and imprisonment in so many different ways and language. And you meet her, and then who else? There's Quan and Ray Ray. They're like young, 10 and 11 years old. They're always playing video games. They're like the dynamic duo, and they're a lot of times they're comedic relief, but they say a lot of truthful things. And there's 18 plus characters in the show. Hour and 20 minutes, no intermission. So we're just like plowing through it. And a lot of people say that they're just so impressed that I've touched on so many different things so fully in just an hour and 20 minutes. So I'm very fortunate. I feel like Subverted, even though I wrote it, I feel like it was gifted to me from God. Like it was like you are this vessel, and I'm just so honored that I could be that. Truthfully, like not only to write it, but to be able to physically transform myself and transcend. A lot of times, I feel like the performance is so transcendent because I feel like it's not me. I feel like, especially on December 4th when I did it, I just pray. I pray before my show, and I ask God, I say, please let me be a vessel for these characters, for these people to flow through, and I am open and I am welcome in any spirit that wants to take form in me and use my voice to speak out. And I feel like there was one scene, I'm getting chills, just and I'm about to cry. But Ty, there was this one scene where he's talking about, and I could say a little bit probably. It goes, he comes out of, so you see him, and his mom has a crack addiction, and a lot of times at Pace, when people will be, even black people, so it's not always a black white thing. There'll be black people who come from the suburbs or whoever, and they say, well, look at you. You came from there, and you're in an honest college now, so anybody could do it, and that's so wrong, because everybody, even though we live in the same area, we don't close our doors to the same things. We don't have the same parents. We don't have the same home environment. And I'm very, very fortunate. My mom is a single mom, but she's a school teacher. And I was the only child for 15 years. So I know what it's like to have my mother's undivided attention and care. And so I know that has shaped the person I am. And that's why I have the resolve to be in that CAP program, but say the next semester, no, I'm getting honors. Like that's something that my mom instilled in me without even having to say to do that. So you Ty a little bit more, and you see him having conversations with Eden, and then Eden's like, well, I grew up the same place as you, and he's like, oh, but what did I go home to? And then I turn into his mom, and you see his experience with his mom. And then he comes out of that, and he's like, how is a 12-year-old boy gonna read a fucking chapter book about white niggas' fantasies or Anne Frank and Hitler Germany? At least if we was learning about the shit this country was responsible for, I could have made sense of the hell I was living in. But we don't learn much about that, and how they was the ones bombing the Black Panthers, and how they got them hooked on dope. And so the remnants of that slipped into the water. I gulped in the shit my mom smoked. So how can I take a summer reading this serious? And America just buried the details, so only people willing to dig that deep and learn the facts will begin to understand me and anybody else black and angry. So why should I study the Great Gatsby when I got drug dealers banging down the door to get to my mom's? when the only people who seem to care about me is the niggas that fight for a corner, because every day they close their door, they live under different oppressive shit. The dudes that come home from jail and are discriminated against in the workspace, so they go back to the same shit that sent them away in the first place. And I walk down the block, I hear the sirens, I smell the garbage, I see little kids playing tackle football on concrete streets, playing pole basketball, hitting the fucking basketball against a no parking sign and calling them making a point because they locked the park again. And I wonder if they know everybody don't live like this. That the lives we live was arranged just for us. Man, they put up police towers like we zoo animals, aim to break me in, get me accustomed to the idea of life in the pen, cops on every corner like overseers so I could know I'm a slave. Then they tell me nothing is black or white, yet I learn to drop words and put vowels in places they don't belong. So every time I leave my hood, everybody know I'm in a place I don't belong because I say shit wrong, and I know I'm a slave. Then the news only show niggas killing each other. A 5-year-old hit by a stray bullet. They say a few words, call us menace to society. But yo, there's white people in Oregon screaming we're willing to kill or be killed. And they live to tell tales. Massacres at elementary schools, colleges, and black churches. And the cops reward them with cheeseburgers and diagnosis. Then they want to tranquilize me like the monster. Chastise me because I could give a fuck about a Cecil the lion. Because in reality, I'm wondering how so many people crying over a dead lion. But ain't as outrage when they hunt and pray and sentence me to a cage. There was global outcry. Come on, son, a lion? Cecil, they've been preying on me since preschool.
Mic dropped. Wow. How do you prepare for something like that? It's so emotional. How do you not get emotional?
I get emotional.
Do you?
Yeah, I just do. There's no way. A lot of times people say like they don't know if they're crying or laughing because I've been blessed with the ability to write the show in a way where I could be so raw and it's so emotional, and then the next minute Ty is saying something funny and you like and you like snotting and laughing at the same time. So I'm just like, so I feel I definitely let my emotions, I try not to let them run away because then I won't be audible, and that's not the point. But I allow people to know just how vulnerable I am because, like I said, the show is such a raw show. It's so honest. So the only way that I could connect with people and allow them to see my heart is to be vulnerable and honest. And you can't do a show like that and just try to put on something. You have to be, you have to be that way. So I think the way I prepare is kind of like understanding and knowing. And I shout out Chad Shania. He went to Pace as well and he directed it from Pace. But he always is like, I kind of let Dom do her own thing and I'm just there in case she needs like support. Because a lot of times I'm like, can I do this? Did we have enough rehearsal? And he's like, Dom, yeah, we did. You know the show. And then once he says that, then I'm good. So this performance, I actually just kind of focused more on my body. And this was my first time doing a show as a pescatarian.
Wow.
So before I would just eat burgers, like I knew that a cheeseburger, some fries would give me enough energy to like get through this. So I was like, what is it gonna be like when my diet's different? And so I really tried to focus on what my body needs to be sustainable and to do this show. And I want to do a run of it. I want to do it at the public. That's one of my goals. But if the public don't bite, I'm gonna have to go somewhere else. But at the same time, I just feel like, okay, what can I do now in the process? Okay, finding a routine before Subvert is very important. Because when I do a run, I'm going to be doing it every day, And I've done the show. I've done a 7 o'clock show and then turned around and did a 9 o'clock show. That's insane. So I would never do that again. And luckily, on stage, they don't require that. I just kind of only get to do it one time, one day, one festival, and it'll sell out. And people be like, Dom, do you think you could do it at 9 too? And then I'll look at the people and be like, I couldn't get in. So then I'll do it, but so knowing that I could do it back to back like that gives me more confidence that I could do a run of it. And then just finding the right routine for my body, right stretching. I love to get massages, massage my face, massage like everything so that I'm there, and I pray about it, and I love to lay on the floor and just listen to the music, and I listen to like Be Free by J. Cole. I listen to Strange Fruit. I listen to Four Women by Nina Simone. I listen to Brown Skin by India.Arie. I listen to what else? Tupac Changes, Dear Mama. I listen to Juicy because I'm from Brooklyn, and like is all a dream, and now I'm here. So I listened to that. I listened to Get Out by Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill and her MTV Unplugged album is like one of my go-tos for subverted.
What has been the most challenging experience for you as an actress so far, and how did you overcome it?
think I think the most challenging experience so far as an actress would be learning how to be a boss and learning how to be a CEO of my own. They kind of throw that out a lot in classes, like you're the CEO, you're the boss of your own brand, you're the boss of your own career, your own artistry. But I think one of my goals for 2018 is to understand, get a concept of what a CEO means to me, and then orchestrate that, execute it as such. So I think that was one of my, because I'm, as you could tell probably from this, I'm all heart in my art and in my relationships with people. However, I know that I can no longer be just all heart. In order to get where I want to get in my career, in my life, what I feel like I've been ordained by God to do, I have to be a boss. I have to listen to my heart and my gut and then follow that.
How does that make you feel that you can't be all heart anymore and you kind of have to step into that I'm a boss bitch?
Yeah. I think it makes me feel empowered because I never thought that I could do that. Like I've been a boss in so many ways without putting a title on it. With Subverted, a lot of times I produce my own self. I'm marketing, I'm getting everybody in the theater. I didn't realize I was being a producer and doing all of this stuff. I never thought I could be a producer, and all of a sudden I'm there, and I'm like, oh my god, okay, so I'm producing. So I feel like we get the tools, but we don't often put a title on it or a label on it, and so I think that, I guess, again, one of the hardest things was knowing that some relationships couldn't go with you to the next level, and trusting your own heart and your own intuition. Now you have people who love and support you and believe the world of you. However, there's some ways in their thinking that limit you and box you in. And so for me, it was kind of like, I believe these people because they've been in the industry for a long time. They're super smart. They're super strategic, and I need them on my team. However, I am the CEO. However, I know my relationship with God. However, I know that my testimony has been this. And so it's not going to change moving forward. I know God has put me in these places in this light for a certain reason. So in going forward and taking my rightful, quote unquote, rightful place somewhere else, I know that I will flourish because God made me to flourish.
And you already are. So beautifully put. I want to jump into the deuce.
Yeah.
You're so amazing, first
Thank
of all. It's such an incredible show, and it must be such an honor for you to work with so many amazing actors as well as David Simon. I also know that was a non-traditional experience for you booking that role. What has been the most exhilarating part about starring in a David Simon series?
Ooh. Most exhilarating part. Well, I have to say that I was doing ADR for Show Me a Hero, and David said he wanted to talk to me after. And I was like, okay. And he said, I don't know if you heard about my new show. And I was like, he was like, The Deuce. And I was like, no. And he was like, well, I wrote a character and I have you in mind for that character. And it's not a role you take just to take it. So if you read the scripts and you don't want to do it, no harm, no foul. And to me, that was the most powerful thing I could hear from anybody, because I love working with David Simon and HBO and Nina Noble, and so I felt honored that, like, a lot of times I play a brat teenager, and then Show Me Hero wasn't that different. She evolved to be an adult over the course of the miniseries, but I didn't know that they saw just how much I could do from this experience. I didn't know that they saw how versatile I could be. I've never had the opportunity on stage or really film to show my sexuality. I didn't have a chance to show my sexuality or show somebody who's confident in her body and what she can get from men, or how she can move around a situation manipulate, how she could be manipulated. Like, I just never got that opportunity. So for them to see that and be like, I think that you're the best person for this role. And originally the character's name was Sophie, and she was a white girl, and now she's Darlene and she's black. So just the power of starting my TV and film career with David Simon, but with him and HBO, seeing what I could do and being like, I think that she's the right person for this. So my original idea doesn't stand anymore. I think that's so powerful, and I'm so humbled by it. So I think, and then getting to work with James Franco and Maggie Gyllenhaal, I think James Franco, he has an infectious personality, and then once you get to know him, you really care about him, and you don't want anybody to hurt his feelings. Like, that's how I feel. I feel very protective of him. Like, he doesn't even notice, but I'm always like, oh, he just won a Gotham Award for like Best Actor, and I couldn't be prouder of him. And Maggie Gyllenhaal, she's phenomenal. She's so aware of her surroundings. She's doing her work as Candy and Eileen, and she's so present, but then she's not so present in a way where she doesn't see what the other actors or young actresses are going through, and she's always aware and looking out. So I'm just so thankful. And then Margarita and Emily, Gary Carr, he's phenomenal. I tell him every chance I get, I tell him, he plays Cece for people who don't know, but I just tell him he has so much in his eyes. He's so incredible that I can't even. Every time he gets a review, I'm like, he's in the UK. He doesn't have social media, so I'm always like his PR person. I'm like, Gary, just want to let you know that this came out and you're amazing, and this is a picture, and these people are saying this, and they love Cece. I always do that because I tell him, like, he's phenomenal.
Wow. So what's next for you?
Well, what's next for me?
I know you have some secret projects.
Some secret projects. I have some secret projects, but I got to film The Hate You Give, which is based off of a young adult novel by Angie Thomas, and Amanda Stenberg is the lead of it, and I get to play like her sister / friend type of person, and Anthony Mackie plays my dad. And the funny thing on set was, so obviously he was Papa Dot in 8 Mile. And 8 Mile was one of my favorite movies. I would watch it religiously all the time. Especially when the last rap battles came up, I would be like, going hard, rapping all the words. And I just was like, Dom, if you don't ask this man if he could do the 8 Mile rap battle with you, you gonna regret it your whole life. So I was like, Anthony, would you do the 8 Mile rap battle with me? He was like, wait, what? I was like, would you do the 8 Mile rap battle with me? And he was like, sure. Which one? I said, the last one. He was like, but I don't even say anything in that. And I was like, yeah, I know, but can you just stand there while I rap at you like Eminem? And he was like, yeah, I do it. And I was so shocked. I was so surprised that he did it. I was like, you're the real MVP. I never, you get nervous when you talk to people about roles, like iconic roles for them. Because you don't know how they feel about it. Some people hate their iconic roles, and just for him to be so game and make that little dream of mine come true, I was just like, that. And as you mentioned, I got to do Gloria Carter in Smile for Jay-Z, and I have to say, like, as a Brooklynite, I would not have ever imagined that I would portray her in a story that was so important to them and so close to them, and I feel truly honored because I'm always, everywhere I go, I'm so Brooklyn. And I know that I didn't get to meet Jay-Z then, but I'm sure it will happen eventually. But just to know that obviously he's not going to let just anybody play his mom.
Right.
So he had to look at me, and I guess look at some of the work I did, and think that I would be a good person to do that, or a person that, because it's just so close as your mom, and it's such a personal story. So I couldn't even imagine. And Miles J was the director of it. He's super young and just a visionary, and I'm just so fortunate to work with him, and I want to continue working with him. And I'm sure everybody will know his name eventually.
Absolutely.
It's an honor.
What is one piece of advice, Dom, that you could leave us with to help those who are going after their dreams? How could you inspire them?
I will inspire them, or I can, or would say this. I would say, that it's like cliche, right? But it's like, resilience is so important. Like I mentioned earlier, if the 10-year-old girl decided that she got denied and rejected too many times and just couldn't handle it, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't have my first apartment, and I still get to live in Brooklyn where I'm from. I'm closer to the city now where I could go to rehearsals and do all of these things, and I could travel the world. Me and my cousin, we went to Costa Rica in February. We went to Greece in August, and now I'm going to Colombia in a few days. And I think I think the sky is truly not even a limit. The sky is not even a limit. When you have faith in God and you work for it, then you can't be denied. And I know that we all go through a lot of things and we get discouraged and things seem so far, but the universe has no choice but to use you when you work hard and you're a good person and you support other people. I remember a time when the people around me was booking so much stuff and I didn't have not a single TV credit to my name. And somebody that I loved very much, um, he just started acting off of something I told him. I think you should try acting, like the way my mom did for me. I think you could really do it. And he took a acting class and he loved it. We were super close. He was like my everything, and he took an acting class and he loved it and he went full force, was getting like professional headshots, was really learning and really applying himself and actors access and doing all of this stuff. And he would have like 5 auditions a day. He was booking all these short films, getting flown to like Alaska to do all of this stuff. And I remember being like, I've been doing this for 8 years. Like, how is this possible? But I acknowledged that I was feeling that way and I prayed about it and I said, God, I'm not like this. I love him. I'm so happy for him. And, I would help him any chance I got, so it wouldn't be like sabotaging or anything like that. It would just, I would want him to succeed, but realizing and being like, I worked hard. I've been doing this. I've been learning. I've been taking classes. What's going on? But I acknowledge it and I said, I don't want to feel like this. And I know that so many people will want my resume right now. Without any TV credits to my name, so many people want to have the resume that I have right now. And I'm truly thankful for it. And I tell you, all of a sudden, all these doors started opening. A book showed me a hero. Then I was booking, the affair and all of these different things. And now, and manifesting is a really powerful tool. It is so powerful. I'll tell you, I've been taking this class at the Drama Bookshop with a woman named Annie Chadwick. And in July, I said, I want to film a movie that I really care about from between August and December. And I booked The Hate You Give. And I did Smile. And I said in November, so this year I said I want to get my own apartment, and then I kind of forgot about it, left it alone. In November, I put it back on my to-do list, my goal list. And I moved in this apartment December 1st. So manifestation is powerful, and it's so important that we understand the power of our thoughts and our mind and really not limiting ourselves. Just because things was done a certain way, one way for somebody doesn't mean it's going to be like that for you. Or, so that's my main piece of advice. Manifestation is powerful, having faith and going after it. So we'll manifest in this class, but then we'll take doable steps to make that happen.
Right.
So it's not just, and then we try not to control it because we said the universe is going to do its own thing. But what can I do to help that? So if I'm saying I want to do Subverted at the public, what is some doable steps? So some doable steps is doing a reading of Subverted.
Right.
And then trying to get the right people in the door, even if I don't have a relationship with them. Like I emailed Oscar Eustace from the public. I did. Wow. I no real connection. I used somebody that I knew that supported me, that I thought would be a good segue into it, so he can know I'm serious about this. It's not just some unsolicited piece of email. This is like real.
Right.
And I emailed him, and he was out of town, but he sent someone else in this place, and I just felt so empowered by that step. We always think, oh, that's not the traditional way of doing it, or there's rules, but really, once you know the rules and you strategically break them or strategically go against them, things can happen.
Dom, you are such an inspiration. Leave us your social media.
My Twitter and Instagram are the same. It's at Dom, D-O-M, Fishback, Fishback. And I have also one for Subverted, Twitter and Instagram. It's at Subverted, SUBVERTED, solo, SOLO, at Subverted Solo.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much again for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's amazing. I'm so proud of you. I'm so inspired by you. And like, we mentioned earlier, this is a time that we're supposed to create content, make waves and make room for ourselves. And I think you're doing that. And I'm sure it's going to take you beyond your imagination.
Thank you so much, Dom. That means so much to me. And thanks again, guys, for tuning in to Bosses Start Somewhere. It's your girl, Riley Brickstith. Stay bossy.